I'm saying he's the only person in country that doesn't do it. But he wins loads of matches.
Yeah, mad.
Even Bennett says you've got to ask him about that because it's such a talking point that he doesn't use them.
The Fishing Gurus Podcast.
Right, second ever on the road podcast. Gives me great pleasure to welcome this gentleman, Nathan Watson. And I'm saying we've never started a podcast with a cheers ever before, have we?
Absolutely not.
You've got a pint, Tobes.
I've got one as well, hidden back here.
Absolutely awesome. I'm going to have a swag before we get going. What's your go-to tipple, Nate? What do you normally drink?
This is one of my favourites, mate. Magnus.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you get a headache? Do you get hangovers, you, or...?
If I drink a lot, which I don't nowadays.
Right.
Used to do it, white acres when we was at sailors till 6 in the morning. Grown up a bit now.
Good. He's took a bit of pinning down getting Nathan on here, but loads of people have asked for you to come on, mate, so I really appreciate you doing it, honestly.
Thanks.
Let's get on with how it first started for you. You, fishing, I know nothing at all about how you got into it. Even where are you actually from? I don't really know much about you at all. Well,
I'm from Utterby, which is in Lincolnshire.
Right.
Between Louth and Grimsby. And the first place I went fishing was at Fulstow Pond, which is about 4 or 5 miles away. I wanted to go fishing because at the time, little bastard, I was into guns and knives. And I had a Rambo knife which had some fishing hooks.
Right.
And line in the handle under the compass.
Well, you could like pull some line and
Well, it's like a compass. You unscrewed it and they'd got some little fishing hook, well, big fishing hooks and line in there to survive when you're in the forest or jungle. And I thought I want to try these. So my mum spoke to my godfather who did a bit of fishing, Roy Portis, and he took me fishing, but he said these hooks are no good, they're like a size 2 or something.
Right.
So I went and borrowed some hooks to nylon in a little packet off somebody, tied them to the end of this line, little twig he got off a tree for a float, tied to the end of a solid fiberglass rod. I caught a roach and a perch, and that was it. I was addicted, wanted to go every week. Gradually bought more and more. Oh, my dad bought me more and more fishing gear.
Awesome. Did you not have anyone in your family who went fishing then, Nate? Like your parents never really fished out like that?
No, my dad was into cricket, football, golf, and he thought fishing's just for people who are no good at proper sport.
Right, fair enough.
But whenever
sums it up, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah,
That
explains a lot about you,
right.
Matt.
Yeah.
Whenever he had free time, he'd take me fishing. So.
Nice. When did it start to get serious? Because obviously you've been match fishing since you were young. I see photos pop up on the internet of you when you were really young match fishing. When did you? When did you start that?
I think it was probably when I was around 11 or 12. There was an advert in the Grimsby Telegraph for teachings at Cleethorpes Boating Lake. And I went off to what my dad took me to one of them. And it was Matt Pilley's dad, Jeff, who's no longer with us, and Tony Wood. They were the main ones, I think, teaching at the time.
He's a character, Woodsy, innit? Flipping heck. He'd be good on a podcast,
yeah,
to be
he would,
fair.
yeah. And they come round teaching us all, like, and said if you're any good or not. And then I think Kev Maynard started a club, Grimsby Kingfishers Juniors, and started fishing little matches with them. And then I think a couple of years later we entered a team in the junior national, and, which I did fairly well on. I won the section, 4th overall.
How old were you then, Nate?
I'd have been 13 or 14, I think probably 13 or 14, because then it was the same year when I fished the intermediate national.
Right.
Which I shouldn't really have fished, because it was for 16 to 18 or 21 year olds. 16 to 21, I think. But they said it'd be all right if you're under 14. I drew an end peg on the Warwickshire Avon at Wasperton, and I won the match with about £20 a chub.
No.
And there was a few moaning after that I shouldn't have been fishing it because I was too young. But yeah, I won a box of masterclass ground bait, which is long gone.
I was going to say, I bet you're still using that now.
Yeah, I think you got a box of that for winning and 2 boxes for second. It was that bad. And then, I got some cash as well, which, again, shouldn't really have been fishing for.
Because you were only 13, 14 in intermediates. Wow, incredible. What?
Gone downhill ever since.
You talk about, like, how you started and the ages you were at. What were you like as a kid, Nave? Because, like, I hope you don't mind me saying, you're a bit of a character now.
Little bastard.
Yeah. What?
Well, so they say.
What were you like
I
at
think
school?
it was the other people. Always in trouble with fighting.
Were you really?
But it was always someone else's fault, really.
Never you.
No.
Never you started it.
No.
Did you have any idea what you wanted to do when you were younger, out like that? Did you have anything like, love to be a scientist or?
I think at one time I wanted to be an accountant, but.
Right. How's that gone for you?
Not very well. I fancied being a school teacher for all the holidays, but
Yeah.
no.
Not a school teacher either.
No.
I
I ended up working in offices for about the first 20 years or so of my working life.
Right.
Angling Water. I was there for 14 years, I think.
What did you used to do with them, Nave?
I was mainly doing like the mail, sending letters and bills out, ordering stationery.
Right.
Rubbish job, really.
Didn't enjoy it?
It was okay, but I've never had what you'd call a proper top job.
No.
High-powered, earning loads like you.
Give over me and Tobrick. We're sat here having a pint with you at lunchtime. It's great fun, isn't it? After you'd got into like the junior sort of side of fishing, obviously you wanted to step it up.
Yeah.
Did you go straight into fishing against adults?
I pretty much started fishing opens pretty soon after the junior matches. I'd say I was like 12, 13. I was fishing adult opens as well and doing reasonably well. And I think I probably did it the backwards way on. I fished opens, then joined a club and fished club matches sort of as well.
Right, got ya.
Which was Louth Cowat Club.
And what sort of venues did you use to fish then?
It was all rivers, drains, canals, mainly rivers and drains. Started fishing a lot of the drains around Boston with the Boston intermediate team. That was who we fished with. And
right.
We entered the Winter League on there and did quite well. And a few years later, we joined the Harlequins team.
I've heard of them.
They was probably the top team in the area at the time on the Boston Drains.
Nice.
Alistair Ogilvie fished for them. He fished with us in the juniors. You'll know Alistair.
Yeah, cracking angler.
Yeah. Mick Stamp, Chris Howard, they were.
Yeah, I've heard all them.
Yeah,
I've heard of all of them. Obviously, know Alistair quite well.
Yeah.
Wow. What's interesting, obviously, I didn't know. All this early days fishing for you is mainly natural venues.
Yeah, I fished pretty much exclusively natural venues till I was early 20s.
Right.
I started fishing a few little matches at Owen Lakes near Mablethorpe, and I got into carp fishing, and then started going to Hayfield Lakes probably soon after that, which is where the Fish O final was at the time. I think the first one was Mallory Park, and then it went to Hallcroft, then Hayfield, which was when I really started trying to qualify. Before I'd entered a few qualifiers, but then when it was at Hayfield, where I was fishing regularly, I thought I want to qualify. When I enter as many qualifiers as I can.
What did you sort of set your heart on being able to get in that final and win the big prize spot?
Yeah, at that time it was the only big money televised competition, and everyone or every serious angler wanted to be in it and win it.
And how did you go about qualifying and getting in final? Because you were very young when you got in your first final, weren't you?
Well, I was 22, I think. At the time, I was the youngest winner. Steve Ringer was probably a few months older when he'd won. I tried to qualify before that. I think when I was as soon as I was old enough, I can't remember if it was 16 or 18.
Yeah.
Very nearly qualified on the Trent and Mersey Canal.
Go on, what happened here?
We got walking along, you could see all these carp cruising along the far bank. Started fishing, went across the far side, double corn, hooked one, got it in my landing net broke and lost it.
No.
I only had one landing net. I had to walk miles trying to find a spare one.
What happened? Did it swim off with your landing net or something?
Yeah, it just broke and escaped. I can't remember the exact details, but I think the hook just pulled out. I think it got in the landing net, and then the landing net broke and the hook pulled out.
Oh,
and then I caught another one eventually with a borrowed landing net, but there's a few people with 2 carp, and if I'd had that one, I'd have qualified. But
damn, so you could have been in it sooner.
Yeah, never mind.
What? I mean, Fish O qualifies on natural venues. You don't even get that now, do you?
There was all natural venues back in when it first started. There was, I think originally there was 8 200 peggers, and it was the top 2 in each one, and then it changed. there'd be some with 100 pegs where just the winner would qualify, which is how I qualified on the Staney, just where we are now.
Whereabouts were you on Staney when you
whereas
qualified?
Towards Hatfield, that's what the sign. I got lost finding my peg. They drew at Thorn Rugby Club, and they give us a map, and with all the peg numbers on. Then after following people's advice, going to various car parks, find out these are permanent pegs, not Fish O pegs. So I was late getting to the peg. I was end peg, so it was quite a long walk.
Right.
And then I didn't realise how wide it was. I thought, I need a feeder here, and I ain't got any.
Right.
So I was thinking, a canal, it's going to be all pole fishing.
Yeah.
But I thought, no, this is wide and it's windy, I need a feeder. So I had to find someone to lend me a feeder. And I used that. I think I actually got it off the bloke who was second.
Really?
So I just beat him with a feeder that I borrowed off him.
Oh, no. Did he say anything?
I give him it back after. Like.
When he said thank you very much. It got me in final, that has.
Yeah.
And what did you catch to qualify
It
first
was
time?
about £40 of skimmers and bream.
Amazing. Did you genuinely love fishing the natural venues? 'Cause
Oh,
yeah. You sort of caught the back end of like the Witham and then Boston Drains that you're talking about and all that, didn't you?
Yeah, the Witham was where I used to go a lot pleasuring as a kid, and started fishing opens on there. And I went watching Tony Wood quite a few times in matches on there. And there was big matches on there. 200 was a small one. Some were 600, 700. And you see like Alan Scott on all the superstars fish them, all the Barnsley anglers. Well, you were probably still at primary school.
Or probably still.
Not even born.
Yeah, in my dad's nutsack somewhere at that point, wasn't I?
Yeah.
And did you get a buzz from having matches like that then? Because that scene's not there now, and we haven't really experienced it.
No, it was totally different. It was a big headquarters at the Witham, and you just see everyone, all the stars in the car park. And I think sometimes they'd have more than one draw bag. They'd have several draw bags and several little pools you'd tick whether you wanted to go in a £2, £3, £5 pool, and all just all along the roadside. It was good, and a lot of it was eel fishing, which you don't see much of nowadays, do you?
It's not even a thing now, is
No.
it? What were the key to catching eels? What were the crack there?
Feeding a lot of maggots at times. Woody often used to feed floating casters, so they come to the noise. But I think you could tap your pole, couldn't you? But that wasn't really a thing back then.
Yeah, you couldn't know. What did he used to feed floating casters? So that
Just to come to the noise, but not so much. I just used to feed loads of maggots, and I did all right, but probably weren't as educated as some of the experts. Maybe getting too many fish, foul looking, but sometimes you get them up in the water, you can catch them like half depth.
What, eels?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I've had £20 up in the water fishing like 5 or 6 foot deep in 11 foot of water.
We've not spoke about eel shallow fishing, have we?
No, we
Tony?
definitely haven't.
I'd love to have seen, honestly, mate. I'd have loved to have
Every
seen that
venue
circuit.
was full of eels.
I don't think I've ever seen an eel on from fishing at all. Actually,
used to
Back then, the Witham was
mad.
known for it, and then all the Boston Drains and the River Nene, anywhere you went, there'd be eels. But now you only get them when it's flooded, don't you? Or like a high tide on the Trent.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
But
Wow.
How big do eels get?
probably
Like
£5-6 or more, don't they?
Yeah, get some big uns. And they tend to catch the big uns by mistake, like pike fishing
Yeah,
or
yeah.
carp
I've
fishing.
had them like £2.5 at Cleethorpes boating late, which
Have
was
you?
like on a 3 elastic 06 24. That was a good fight.
Did you ever do any sea fishing out that way?
No,
Never been bothered?
never really interested me.
Right. Wow. Because you're close, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're close to seeing that there, really.
Yeah.
Fair play. Tell me a little bit about this first Fish O Mania knife, because obviously, first ever time that you've qualified on the Staney, 40 odd pound, on a borrowed feeder.
Yeah.
Have that back, mate. You've come
That's
second.
it, yeah. Well, so at the time, I was fishing Hayfield quite regularly, lots of evening matches, and it was floating pole was sort of dominating at the time.
Right.
Although I didn't always use it a lot of the time, if it was calm, I'd fish a normal pole holding it out the water. But
What, still with a piece of line, just dangling?
no, with
or-
a float. And before slapping and before really banded pellets was a thing, so it was all fishing expanders or bits of meat. So obviously you couldn't slap it or else it'd come off.
Yeah.
It was a lot of it was trying to find a good pellet for on the hook. And we used the Mega pond pellets, a lot of us. And
I can remember them.
yeah.
They were lovely,
You'd
weren't
feed
they?
them as well. You'd soak them and squeeze them before pellet pumps and everything.
What did you used to do? Just squeeze all the air out of
Yeah,
them?
just with your hands squeeze them, and it was a venue I was doing well on. I was confident and really fancied the final, really. And they drew the night before in a marquee at the side of the lakes.
Nice.
I drew not really a peg I fancied, just the middle of the pub bank, if you know, just down from the pub. And there was Lee Addy was next to me, he was the end peg, and then Johnny Howard, who was a good mate at the time, fishing the matches, he was just to my left.
Yeah.
And Roger Marlowe, he was the end peg towards the bridge side, and then the left, all the bank with the bridge was left out for the camera crew, and the long bank with your back to Island Lake, or Lucy's Lake at the time.
Yeah.
That was really the favourite bank where everyone wanted to be, but I think it was peg to peg on there, so in the end it wasn't as good as I thought it would be. And the wind turned, so it was blowing into our bank on the day, which helped us. I forgot to say, the night before, Billy Knott was there, so I was trying to get a bet on myself, and I got all this money, hundreds of pounds. I was like 9 to 1. I say, I'll have a few hundred, I can't remember, a few £100 at 9 to 1. He said, no, you can have £50 at 9 to 1, you can have £50 at 6 to 1, £50 at 3 to 1. So it's like that. So
you split it all up?
Yeah, I put as many bets on as I could.
How much did you spend on bets?
About 300, I think.
Flipping.
That's not bad.
Just on yourself?
Yeah.
I like the confidence there.
Love it.
I was so confident at the time that
Mega that.
what I was going to do was going to work. And so on the day, everyone was setting 5 or 6 rods up. I just set a pole with about 12 top kits up.
Wow.
Which was mainly floating pole rigs. You'd think it's simple, but it was like normal shallow fishing these days. You'd have all different lengths. And
Tell us about floating pole, Nave, because there's so many people going to listen to this podcast that have
Never
not
heard
got
of
a
it.
clue. Do you know what a floating pole
No,
is,
it's first,
Toast?
just going to say, it's the first time I've heard of
Like,
about
just
that.
for the people listening who won't know, like, what was floating
well,
pole?
basically, you're just using a long pole. I think in Fish O the limit was 16 metres, so we just fished 16 metres. Other times, there's people who used to fish 20, even 30 metres.
Wow.
And you're just having a bit of line on the end of your pole and laying your pole on the surface. And so the fish hook themselves, the bolt rig, and you just fire your pellets around the end. And to some, that was it. But I would still be lifting and dropping and tapping and fishing various depths. And so there was a little bit more to it. We'd alternate, or I'd alternate, feeding hard pellets, soft pellets, meat. And yeah, just waiting for the fish to pull the pole round.
That
Sounds
happened.
easy.
What happens when you get a bite? Is it just like...
Your pole just goes down or round. Yeah, it was good. I think a lot of the thing, poles weren't as good back then. So a 16-metre pole would be really floppy and heavy. But it worked so well on the day because it was windy, and you wouldn't have been able to hold a 16-metre pole still in the wind to fish. But on the day, with a floating pole, you held it still and could fish shallow where the fish were.
Amazing. How deep did you used to catch them on it?
Between 2 and 4 foot normally.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you lift and drop with a floating pole?
Just lift it.
Or just like wiggle your tips sort of thing?
I sat with it between my legs and just lifted it up. It didn't tend to fill with water, like, because I still had a number 1 section in. I'd probably have a 6-inch number 1 section, so the elastic could be quite a tight fit. Whereas now, if you had a big bore top, I think it'd fill with water a lot more.
I was going to say, that must be heavy, that.
Oh, back then as well, a 16-metre pole. 2002 we're talking here.
Yeah.
It was a Tournament S, what I was using, Daiwa Tournament S.
Right.
Especially doing it all match as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always kept lifting and dropping. Some people sat with it between the feet. So obviously, when you're doing that, you can't really lift and drop it.
No.
Depends how high your box is, I suppose.
We should go back and do a feature on floating pole.
Yeah,
That'd
I'd
be
like
really
to see
popular,
that.
wouldn't
It's like the
Yeah.
if you're allowed to say that.
Well, you're probably not like the overshotted rig.
Well, without a float.
Yeah. The rig
I
without float.
suppose with a float overshotted is the same as a bit of line and a few shot on.
Yeah, it's exactly the
Because the
same.
float's not doing anything, is it?
And they're just hooking themselves against your pole tip. Pull your elastic out.
And lots of tapping if you're allowed.
Yeah.
So
Amazing. And tell us about the final. So floating pole, main gambit, because it's windy.
Yeah.
Got you back to
The
the
wind was in
pub.
my face, so I thought there's not a lot of point fishing a waggler when you've got a strong wind in your face and a feeder. I did set, I think, a couple of chopped worm rigs up for fishing short. At the time, you used to catch a lot of hide and off in there. But I might have tried it for 5 minutes. But I thought, to win it, it's going to be the floating pole. So
Right.
concentrated on that.
And how did your match go?
I'm pretty sure I was winning from the start and was leading at every weigh-in, even though I didn't think I was at times, because Roger Marlowe on the end, he looked to be bagging it. Towards the end especially, he was the end peg where the wind was more into his corner, and but I found out after, so every time I looked over I could see him playing a fish. I thought, oh no, he's catching me up, it's all going wrong. But apparently after, people said he's been playing one fish while you've landed 3. So I didn't realise that.
Right.
So I won. I don't think I won by miles, maybe £20, but at that time the weight was about £90, which was a Fish O Mania record at the time, which shows how fishing's changed. So.
And I bet you felt like you bagged up, didn't you, catching £90 back then?
Yeah. Well, now it's nothing, is it?
What sort of gear did you use? Like elastic and line and hooks
I was
back then?
using the same elastic that I'd probably use now for big F1s. I was using for the carp, which is a 14 to 16 midi, which is quite soft.
Yeah.
And I was using, I think my light rig had 016 to a 14 Drennan super carbon barbless.
Wow.
And the heavy
Have you
rig,
still got some of them?
Yeah. And the heavy rig was a 018 to a 14 carp Drennan carp feeder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good hooks, them, aren't they? They're quite long shanks, slightly offset, aren't they?
Yeah. I've still got some of them.
You still use them now as well?
Not so much, no. I tied up a load recently for Craig Kent, actually.
Did you?
He still uses them.
Right.
They was good, but the points often used to go on them,
Right.
as they do on quite a few hooks. But
And you just used to hook soft pellets?
hook soft pellets or a bit of meat at the time. Yeah,
So
it was
different.
before, I think it was before, certainly before there was popular banded pellets, hair rig pellets. Nobody used them. Everyone was just searching for the best expander, you know, like gelatine pellets and things like that, something that would stay on.
Can you remember silly pellets?
Yeah.
The ones in their silvery bags?
Yeah.
They were like tough.
I remember the silly bait ground bait as well. That was the in thing at the time.
It was good ground bait,
Yeah.
that one. It smelt strong.
Yeah.
So Fish O Mania 2002, won it. How old were you at the time? 22?
22, yeah.
Youngest ever win. How did it feel? When did you know you'd done it? Tell us about the moment you knew you'd won.
Probably when all the blokes behind me come moving my pole out the way and throwing me in.
Did they really?
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
your mates who'd come to watch
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Some lads who I used to fish with at a place near Skegness. And I was trying to pack up and they kept moving the pole out the way, and then they just come and all pushed me in, all dived in with me. And then, I think that was the same day when there was Leeds Loonies in the crowd. I don't know if you remember Leeds Loonies.
No, don't know them. Who were they?
Bloke called Mick and Mark. I can't remember his surname. He used to fish Hayfield all the time, and they all stripped naked and jumped in. That was all on camera.
No. What proper stalkers?
Yeah. Those all drunk like, and
Just dived in?
yeah.
You've been watching you all day, drinking sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's what match fishing should
That's it,
still be,
yeah.
innit?
The crowds
Don't hear
are massive
stories like
back
that
then.
anymore.
You never see the crowds like that nowadays.
What, there were more people watching it back then, Nate?
Yeah, and it was so loud as well. Every time you catch a fish, there'd be a massive cheer. And
See, that's like proper like spectacle,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
It is.
Did you buzz off it? Did you get a buzz?
Yeah, really. Like the next day, I was at work walking through town in Lincoln. I thought, I wonder if anyone's going to recognise me off Sky.
And did there?
No. They have done since, but
Right. Oh, incredible.
probably not many fishermen about.
What did the money mean to you now? Because to win, that was the biggest prize. It
Yeah.
still is one of the biggest prizes. How much did the money help you out and mean anything to you back
Yeah,
then?
it was a lot of money back then. 25,000 and 22 years ago, and yeah, it was nice. I didn't go mad and spend it all. I've invested most of it, which is still investing.
What did you do to invest it?
I went to a financial advisor in Lincoln.
Nice.
And, I've done quite well out of it.
Good. Awesome. What happened after that fish show? Did that event sort of catch your eye and and
it made me want to qualify again. So
for that same event.
Yeah.
So that took up a lot of your fishing.
Yeah, obviously in the summer it's not a winter match, but pretty much every qualifier wanted a ticket, and back then it was first come first serve. Various times they changed how it was. I think you had to do it in the post, or it was the NFA at that time, which was somewhere around Derby or Nottingham, their head office. And I remember when I was at school, I'd have been at work, I think. And my dad used to drive. Yeah, I'd have been at work, not school. My dad used to drive to NFA office the day the tickets come out. I think the tickets were in Angling Times. That's right. You had to buy the Angling Times, fill in a form on there, post it off. But rather than posting it, my dad would drive to NFA office, so I'd get my form in first. So I got all the tickets, which was normally I just entered every one.
Wow.
Regardless of where it was, we'd drive like 300 miles to fish a match, and somewhere you've never fished before. All canals and rivers. And the more you enter, the more chance you've got. You had to draw a flyer. Generally it was carp or bream, or half the time you'd draw a peg. Some people would draw a peg and go straight home.
Right.
A lot of people, you'd fish for a couple of hours, that's it, go home.
Can't win.
That's it. It's
wow.
Win or bust.
So different, innit?
Yeah.
Get your tickets out of a paper and then drive to make sure you... look at how it's done now, where you're commenting on a Facebook page to get a ticket.
Then it went to the online sort of draw system, didn't it? And there's a veterans club started for all the past winners and people that had bought over so many tickets. When it first started, they got, I think, originally 8, then 6 guaranteed tickets, and it was really popular. They did the online draw, there'd be 150 on the waiting list, but often you could just turn up on the day on the waiting list, there'd be maybe a dozen no-shows and you'd get a ticket, which I often did. I'd drive up to 200 miles without a ticket, 150th on the waiting list. And I think only once did I not get on, which was at Partridge Lakes when it moved to commercials. But.
Wow. And how did qualifying for more finals go for you? How many have you been in?
I think it's 7.
It's 7 Fish O finals.
The second final at Hayfield, that's the worst day of my life when I come second. Close match, Neil Machin won. I was losing loads of fish, foul-looking fish. With the crowd was 2 meters from where I was fishing down the margin, and it was just solid with fish, but foul-looking so many. My gear wasn't really up to it because I was never used to bagging fish down the margin like that.
Right. How close were you, Nath?
Sorry, I can't picture like them being that close to your edge line.
Mate.
It's like, I mean, we've seen them pictures. But
this is this match, yeah. You can see the crowd behind.
Is that this one, is it?
It's sort of bent round into the corner, and where I was, the rope, it was so close to where I was fishing. I was fishing 16 metres into the corner, and you could. It doesn't actually show it on these pictures, but yeah, the crowd was definitely closer than 2 metres.
This is the one where you come second from this letter?
Yes.
You'll love this, right?
Go on.
So Nave got here this morning, I mean.
Yeah.
And he says, I've got a letter and some photos from me worst fish show. And he says, Dear Mr. Watson, sorry you didn't win at Fish O Mania. I'm sure you will be kicking yourself all year. I watched the match with my partner and took quite a few photos of you. I enclosed a few which you or your family might be interested in. The photo of you in the Angling Times was rubbish, so I hope these cheer you up. Diane C. P.S. And this is secret admirer territory. This I am the blonde woman who sat next to the rope and your corner most of the day.
Stop.
How good's that for a little letter? But you can see on these photos we've got a Nath here.
Yeah, let's have a look. Hold them up to your camera for us. Go on.
Let me find one with the crowds in. You can see. Like, look at everyone behind there.
Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
Plus, I was fishing to the right at 16 metres, and there was a lot closer there.
What, right next to literally where you were fishing?
Right next to where I was fishing, yeah.
Wow.
So we didn't expect to catch there. Every previous Fish O Mania final, you've had to be long pole, waggler in the middle of the lake. But that year, for some reason, the fish was all down the margin, and even though they weren't settled, they didn't want to move from there. And yeah, it's big weights. I think Neil Machin had about 230 pound, and I was about 12 pound behind.
Literally a couple of fish, innit? Nothing really.
2 fish, yeah.
Horrible when you think that the crowd definitely has influenced that.
Yeah, because where he was, the crowd was probably 13 metres away, whereas me, it was 2 metres.
Definitely hindered you, haven't you?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that match, there was thunder and lightning storms forecast, and they said if that happens during the match, we'll stop there, and whoever's winning at the time wins.
No.
So we was all thinking we need to get off to a good start, but then they didn't come till we was packing up, and then we was packing up, we got absolutely soaked.
Oh, no. And you said that you had a nightmare losing fish and that kind of thing. Do you regret it? Could you have won it knowing what
I'm
you know
sure
now?
I could, yeah. If I actually had just got a new pole at the time. I think it was probably my Tournament Pro. Or it might have been a Spectron, but I still used my Tournament S because I was more confident landing the fish quickly because it had got shorter top kits. And my rigs, I think, was like 016 to a 16, which to me at the time seemed heavy, but now margin fishing, I'd be fishing 020 to a 12 or something, and a bigger bore top, stiffer pole, better elastic. I'm sure I'd have landed more fish and maybe changed the feeding a bit, but I don't know. Whatever, I did try various feeding, fishing off the bottom, and just kept foul hooking loads of fish. But just down to the crowd, I think.
Looks like you've got a broken landing net in one of these. Am I seeing things or?
No, that's right.
That's the one there. Look, that
Did you
black and
start
white
the
there.
match with a broken landing net, or was that part of your worst day's fishing?
That was part of the worst days fishing where I was scooping for a fish. Only one fish though, not 2 fish. And as I scooped for the fish, the landing net handle broke. But I still got the fish, and I had a spare landing net handle, so that didn't slow me down too much.
Wow.
So we've seen the picture. It's probably what, half a metre, like
like
at
stick.
best. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. I've got to ask you, Nath, like all them crowds fishing for 25 grand and ridiculously young age, I know you buzzed off it, but did you ever feel nervous or scared or anything like that?
Not really. So probably before the match started, I did, but then during it, you just enjoy it, and the support, like say, every time you caught a fish, they'd cheer, shout your name, and just spurred you on, really. I mean, you could say it would scare the fish, but it would do it for everybody the same. So, probably the more you caught, the more disturbance you'd get. But generally, by the time you're catching, back in those days, people who weren't catching were never going to come back anyway. So there'd just be 2 or 3 in the run and in the running for it, and they'd get all the disturbance. It'd be the same for everybody in contention, really.
Do your family come and watch you and that kind of thing?
My dad's been to every final. Yeah, not my mum, she's not interested.
Is she not?
No, but my dad's always come to watch every final.
Right. Your dad goes to Whiteacres with you, doesn't he?
He did up until last year, which was, 2 weeks ago. That's the first time I've been without him, which is quite sad because he's not been very well. He's currently in hospital at the minute. So.
Oh, bless him. I hope he's all right, mate.
Yeah, thanks.
I hope he is.
Yeah, he's always come with me, and he's enjoyed fishing, watching me fishing, not fishing, and he's enjoyed holidays to Whiteacres, but never fished himself.
Watch you win some big stuff and all, hasn't he? Fair play.
I think he watched the last hour at the final at Park Dean, which you've not talked about yet.
No, we'll come on to that one as well.
That,
Before we come on to Park Dean though, obviously still on Fish Show, any more close calls, any more that you think maybe slipped through the net, so to speak?
No, every other one's been pretty rubbish. Well, there was one at Cudmore. There was only 2 I fished at Hayfield, then it moved to Cudmore. And there was one where I was doing well for a couple of hours catching shallow and carp, and then the wind changed and just stopped catching just like that when it went from a bit of ripple to calm and ended up miles away. I can't remember if that's one. It might have been the first one Jamie Hughes won, out of about the 15 he's won. But
yeah, he's had a few.
It might have been. I'm sure he was in like the corner where the wind was blowing and he was catching barbel. I think he won it. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think one of the first ones he won with barbel short, didn't he? And casters and that kind of thing. Yeah. But you did win the Champion of Champions.
Yes.
So that was, tell the people what were the format for that match? Quite a special one.
Well, back when Fish O Mania first started, there was only 16 in the final. And after the 16th, they decided they'd have a Champion of Champions match with all the 16 past winners at Cudmore. And it was the day after the final. I think it was 2010. back then. I think it was a mixture of barbel and carp in Cudmore. And I went down the night before for the draw. I think watched the end of the final, and Neil McKinnon won it with carp up in the water. And then the next day, well, I drew peg 1, which is like an end peg, but there was a blocker next to me. And I decided whatever he does, I'm going to do the opposite. So he started fishing a pole. I chucked a feeder to the island and started catching steady, decent sized carp, sort of 4 to 5 pound, which was big for there at the time.
On a method?
On a method feeder, yeah, with meat on the hook on a method feeder. And it was a close match between Matt Hall and myself mainly. And he was about 4 or 5 pegs along to the left. He was catching mainly barbel on the pole, which is what he'd done. He won the first final on there, I think, with barbel a couple of years previously. And yeah, there was one incident I remember where I caught a cage feeder on my hook and it had a fish on it.
Right.
And that was towards the end when it was close and the fish come off.
No.
So it wasn't on my hook anyway, but I lost it and I thought that was going to make all the difference. So Matt Hall was cheering, like thinking that was going to cost me and he would win it.
Right.
But I just had enough to win. I only just won, I think, by about £5.
Don't matter though, does it?
Oh, no, I won.
10 grand.
It was 10 grand, yeah.
Incredible.
But
What did you do with that? Invested it
added
again?
it to the investment fund.
Did you?
I think I give a little bit away to in both finals. We had an agreement in the first one with Johnny Howard. If either won, we'd give the other £2 grand. And then in Champion of Champions, it was Rob Hitchens. We said if either won, we'd give the other £1 grand. So I give Rob £1 grand. I think each time I give my dad £1 grand out the winnings as well.
Oh, fair play. Do you do a lot of sharing with your winnings and stuff in fishing, Nate? Or
I don't get enough to share nowadays.
you've no.
No.
Don't have any like sharing partners out like that, do you?
No, not normally.
Keep it all for yourself. Get it under bed.
Yeah.
Damn right. Am I right in thinking you had a funky little bet on with Matt Hall as well the night before?
It wasn't so much of a bet. It was the expenses you got, which was, I think, £250 you got for practicing hotels and such like. And Matt Hall and his missus has organised a pull for the second place angler. Thought so if you come second, you're going to get a bit of something. And everybody, apart from me, paid the £250 into a pull for second place. And she even come to me just as the match was about to start saying, "Are you sure you don't want to go in this pull?" And I says, "No, I'm fishing to win, so I don't want to pay a pull for second." And I reminded him of that after.
250 quid better off?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. Let's talk about Part Dean. While we're on the big matches that you've done well in and won, Part Dean Masters Final. When did you win that?
2022.
And how did that come about?
Well, I've been going to Whiteacres festivals for years, and it's the top 24 in the Preston Festival qualify for the Part Dean final. That's about 20th, I think. So qualified for that, and that was a draw on the morning job. And I didn't really know Jenny's that well, or certainly the far bank where I was. And it wasn't a fancied area at the time, although I saw on the map you'd got quite a bit of room where it was really shallow, narrow, they leave gaps out. So I thought might be a chance of some carp down the edge. And started off fishing a feeder to the island while I ate my dinner, as I normally do, for I think 1 perch and 1 skimmer in the first hour.
Right.
So I thought, oh God, I just want to go home. But then I've gone on the meat short, and after probably 5 or 10 minutes, it went under with a £5 carp. So I might get a few. And I think I had maybe 5 or 6 on that in the next hour and a half, 2 hours.
Nice.
It was only a 4-hour match, and then last hour I've gone down the edge in front of the spare pallet on dead maggots and had another 5 or 6 or something, which was enough to win.
What did you have that day?
60 odd pound, I think.
Lovely.
Not a big weight. It never has been a big weight venue, really.
No.
More so now. I think it's fishing better now than ever. They've restocked it a bit.
What did you do? Obviously, winning that, how much did that mean to you? You've been going to Whiteacres for a long time. You've been in quite a lot of. How many Partridge finals?
I've only been in 2 finals.
Have you really?
Yeah.
I thought you'd have been in more than that. You?
I'm not that good.
Yes, you are.
I've been close a few times. I think the biggest cheer on one night when they had a big presentation in the club, it's not like that now. Everyone used to go, and nowadays it's just a few in the fishing bar.
Right.
But the biggest cheer was when the top 24 qualified and I come 25th.
No. You didn't mind though, did you?
No, I've only been in 2 finals. The first one was rubbish. I was next to Downcox and we had a pound and he ended up fishing for roach to beat me for the pound.
Never.
Yeah, had about £9 a roach.
What result at Whiteacres other than that stands out the most for you? You ever won a festival at Whiteacres?
No, third's the best I've been.
Right.
Which was in 2018. Dale Shepherd won it with 5 wins. Phil Cannany was second, I think 4 wins. And then I had 4 wins and a rubbish one, which they say you drop it, but you don't.
No.
If there's a tie, it goes to your drop result. That was 180 pegger back then, and it was a grand for third, so it was good. But
yeah, great festivals, weren't they? Great festivals.
Yeah, you had a day on Porth, which was nice, fishing for roach and skimmers, sat out in the water, a bit of a change. I normally used to get there late and have a boat ride to the peg. And obviously a day at Belingi, which that's not in there anymore.
No.
Which is a shame, 'cause it's one of my favourite commercials.
It's such a shame them 2 places aren't in it.
They
I used to love Porth.
They was my 2 favourite days, really.
It broke your week up as well, didn't it? Like going off site and getting a boat at Porth and that kind of thing.
I still enjoy going, but it's not as good as it used to be.
When did you first go, Nath?
The first time I ever went to Whiteacres was in that 1993, 94 time, which was probably my most successful time fishing, apart from the big finals. I used to win loads back then, and I won a big junior match and won a free holiday at Whiteacres.
Right.
So my dad took me and Matt Pilley, all went in one car, got there about 6 in the morning to fish the open match.
Poor old dad taking you 2 together. Flipping heck.
He even borrowed a trailer to fit the stuff in.
Right.
You'd never fit it in now with all the gear we had.
Were you good mates with Pilley, like as a youngster?
Yeah. And we had a good week fishing, apart from he'd got a new Maver carp pole. I thought, I'll have a go on that. First time I struck, I snapped it in half. And then we moved lakes and I was carrying my Super Ultegra pole down a slope from one lake to another. I fell over and broke that in about 3 places. So we had a bit of a disaster, but won a few quid, caught loads of fish. And then I don't think I fished a festival till a few years later, probably when I was about 20. Thought I'd have a go on the festival. I enjoyed it, and that probably been going ever since, 20 years, once or twice a year.
Would you miss it if you didn't go now?
Yeah.
I think you'll just keep going.
I keep thinking when I have a bad day, I'm not going next year. And then it comes to it, I thought, I'll book on.
Yeah.
But I do. I enjoy it. I enjoy the holiday as much as the fishing, seeing all your friends. And
What's your best memory at Whiteacres over all them years ago? Which one sticks out in your mind the most?
I've had a lot of good memories on nights out. But obviously the best one would be winning the Partridge final. That's the best memory. Yeah, my dad was there for the last hour watching it anyway.
Good.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome, mate. I want to ask you a few things tactically. Like we've just spoke about all these big matches, big finals, Fish O Manias, Partridge. And I think it always takes a certain kind of person who fishes in a certain way to win big matches like that. And you've done it a lot. You win a lot of matches. What's your mindset going into them big finals, festivals, big events, like to win them like you've won quite a few?
Well, to win a big final is generally a lot different to trying to get points in a festival. And it's what I've probably been guilty of for many years. I've sort of all or nothing. I'll fish positively to win. And if the peg's not capable of it, I'll probably still fish too positively and not do any good. I'll either win the match or pack up early, come last. But I have changed a bit nowadays. I enjoy team fishing for section points. But in a big qualifier or a final, I think you've got to fish positive. They give you a chance to win or blow out, really.
A lot of people, I think, are scared of looking daft by not catching fish.
But that's it. I think, well, it's a bit different now because in the finals they do second and sections, whereas back when I won and in pretty much every final I fished, it was winner or nothing. So if you're not going to win, you might as well come last. That was the way I saw it.
No one remembers second in them kind of things.
No, it's the worst thing to come second.
Definitely. And I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I speak to you about fishing, and I spoke to Andy Bennett before we did this podcast. I was like, I've got Nathan in for a show. Like, what should I ask him? Because he always says you've got to get Nathan in. So he's excited. But you fish in quite a different way. Like, you still don't use puller kits and stuff like that, do you?
No.
Are you on them yet?
No.
You're joking me.
Horrible things.
What's your style of fishing? You're still quite old-fashioned in a lot of things.
I don't use pullers.
Why not? Let's talk about puller kits. Why are you not on puller kits yet?
Well, I've tried them briefly when I've borrowed top kits. I don't like the feel of it. It just feels awkward to me, and I feel you can easily put too much pressure on a fish and lose a fish, which I've witnessed, or break a top kit. And I think, well, I know they wear your elastic out a lot quicker, which is more hassle changing it. All the pull in your elastic's going to damage it. And I just feel that they slow me down and I can play and land fish quicker than most without them. If I use the right elastic for the job. I suppose the only downside might be if you're fishing somewhere where you're catching a mixture of skimmers and big carp, your elastic, or my elastic, wouldn't be ideal for both without a puller, but it's not something I do regularly, so it doesn't really bother me. I either fish heavy gear for carp or light gear for skimmers.
What kind of elastic do you use?
All solid, yeah. I don't like hollow elastic.
Not all?
No.
You got any hollow elastics?
No.
Still on solids?
Yes.
What's the best kind of solid elastic to use?
I think they're all pretty similar, really. I've always liked midi for carps. You get 6 meters, and it's probably softer than most. I'd say 18 to 20 midi, which has always been my go-to margin elastic.
Is that the bluey coloured
yeah,
one?
I'd say that's probably as soft as a 14 or a 16 in a Preston. I think most of my roach tops are Preston, like 3, 4, 5 Preston. I did recently start using some hybrid 18 to 20 map, which I got off Pilly, and that's good. It's strong and it's perfect for when you hook a fish normally. But if you get a 10 pounder in the tail, it's a nightmare. You've got like top 5 on trying to land it.
Sorry, Matt. So how do you fish without a puller kit? So bear with me on the terminology here. This is going to be difficult for me to understand.
You've not known pole fishing before puller kits, have you?
No. But I know enough to understand the pulling kit is the bung at the bottom that you pull it out and then you hold it with your thumb.
So many people must be listening thinking,
I hope I'm not the only one.
Was there a time when puller kits didn't exist?
But
your arm's a puller.
Yeah.
But what are you doing then that's not... And try and explain this to like the beginner of beginners here.
Well, a lot of the time it's technique, keeping the pole low and to the side, or sometimes pointing it at the fish so the elastic retracts, and then trying to bring the pole behind me and try and bring it up fast and scoop the fish before it realises to shoot off again.
I'd love to see that.
There's some footage.
There is some footage of the final on YouTube.
The Part Dean final when
and
Nath
the Part
won.
Dean, Part Dean and Fish O finals.
And you could see you like bring your pole round to the side, and you quickly lift it up and scoop it.
I mean, there are times if your rig's on a top kit, I might add a short 4, occasionally even a number 5, which I'm not bothered about doing.
You'll happily do it.
Yeah, I'll only use a short 4 because in the past I've broke quite a few normal number 4s, but a short 4, no, it's never broke yet. A short 4. I've never broke a short 4 yet.
Wow. So to answer your question, obviously puller kits. You hook a fish, you ship it back, you strip the elastic from the pole to tighten it up.
I've done it like once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Nath doesn't
have
the puller.
Do you go fishing?
I don't, no. I have been, but I'm not.
Right.
I wouldn't say I'm an angler, but I think I've had to go on a pole
like
twice.
Like my dad, he's had a dabble.
Yeah,
Caught a fish every time, he says. 100% record.
that would be,
lied.
yeah. But so do you not have that bit on your...
No.
You don't have that at all?
No holes in the side of the pole, no.
Yeah, I can't get my head around that.
And I won't use a drag on a reel. And I don't know if you do it.
I prefer to back wind, to be
Yeah.
fair. Do you back wind?
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer
Well, try
back
to wind forward, but
Yeah.
if I need to, I'll back wind.
If it's pulling that hard,
Yeah.
you'll give it a bit of line.
Yeah.
You're quite an aggressive angler, Nath. Like, do you play fish hard? Do you
Generally,
get fishing quick?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's an advantage.
Unless it can be. In the past, when I was young and probably the first Fish O Mania, I thought it'd look cool to land them quick. It can cost you. I mean, a lot of people said on the one that I was second in that's cost me because I was bullying the fish, but I don't think it did. I think it was just because most of the fish was foul hooked and you'd have lost them regardless. But
Can you land like a 15-pound carp foul hooked in the tail without a puller kit?
it might take a while, but I have done, yeah.
Wow.
Generally, it might be a top 5. I had one at White Acres the other week, actually, and I was just getting it towards the landing net, and then the rig's pinged off and got in a tree like 20 foot behind
What
me.
did you say when that happened?
I can't repeat it. But I still won the match.
Oh, fair play. Didn't you win a couple of matches at Belinda recently?
Yeah, I won 2 at Belinda the week after the Guru Festival. I did rubbish in.
Yeah.
And then I won 2 matches at Belinda, both with 270 289, which should have been more. The 289 should have been maybe 299 because I went over £10 in the net.
Oh no.
I think I'd moved every net previously that way and using that net, and then the last one it was getting full there, so I moved it that way. I think I must have put a couple of fish in the wrong net.
Got ya.
Which stupid, really. But I'm
you-
not used to doing it. I'm
Have-
not used to using more than one net.
Imagine how much you'd have caught with a puller kit.
About 150.
But that sums up that it probably doesn't make a difference. The fact you've been to Belinda and had
Yeah.
270, 290 pounds
Yeah.
without it.
Wait, that 290, that's the best weight I've ever had, so I was a bit gutted. I thought wanting to get 300 for the first time.
Is it common not to, like, is anybody else fishing that way?
I'm saying he's the only person in country that doesn't do it. But he wins loads of matches.
Yeah, mad.
But even Bennett says you've got to ask him about that because
Yeah,
it's such
yeah.
a talking point that he doesn't use them. Still uses solid elastics. Hardly
Yeah.
anyone Speedy used to use solids for quite a long time, didn't he?
Does he not know?
I think he does a bit. I think
Yeah, for silvers, everybody uses them. don't
Yeah,
they? But,
yeah.
Why not for carp?
makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've got to be
Especially
honest.
if you're fishing their snags, I think they're a lot better.
Yeah, I've not used a solid for carp for years, but it'd be
Really?
interesting to try one now.
There you go. There's your next feature
Yeah.
there, isn't it?
Now then, yeah, I'll definitely
Right.
get on it.
Toilet break.
We having a toilet break?
Yeah,
let's
not
do it.
We're
together.
having a coffee.
Together.
Should we get coffees in?
Nah, I don't drink coffee, mate.
You can't have, you having another Magnus?
No, not yet.
Got me sent a coffee knife. Do you drink tea and coffee, you?
No,
Do you want my biscuit?
no.
You can dip it in my coffee if you want.
Coffee's bitter.
Do you not like it with sugar in?
I'm bitter enough without coffee.
You are quite a bitter character, aren't you, to be fair? While we're on old-fashioned habits and stuff like that, obviously no puller kit, solid elastics. Have you got any more things you do that maybe the majority don't?
There's a few. I don't like using a foot plate unless I really have to,
Right?
which is because I always like to be sat as low to the water as I can, especially for playing carp. How I play them without the puller, it helps us to be as low down. If you're on a foot plate, extending legs, you're a few inches higher, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I like to be low to keep the pole low. And the only time I'll use a foot plate is if I need to use a rest, which I hate doing as well, to hold it still in flow with a flat float or pole feeder, or skimmers on a windy day. I know you like using them, don't you?
Sometimes, yeah.
For things like that. But I'd never use them for sort of active fishing, like obviously trotting down a river or fishing up in the water for carp, unless I think they slow you down, hinder you, and get in the way, really.
So there's a good reason for doing it. and
That's
not
my
having it.
reason for doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've got some bad back problems, some disability, they help people fish. But I think if you can fish well without them, feeding while holding your pole, it helps you. So, and if I need to get in the water or really sloping bank, I'd rather use a platform.
Got you. Get set up on a platform,
Yeah.
box straight on it.
Yeah.
Like it. What's your while we're on to like tackle and that kind of thing, what's your prep game like? Do you prep hard? Have you got loads of kit done already, or?
It's not as good as it probably should be or used to be. I've got loads of rigs. Some have probably been in the box 20 years, never used.
Wow.
But and elastics tend to get changed when it snaps and I lose a rig and a fish, which is a bit stupid really, but
Just leave them and wait for it
yeah,
to...
well, I often check them when I get a chance at the start of a match. I'll pull it all out as far as I can, check for damage, and I've not broke one recently. Touch wood again.
Good. Your next match is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, I know. I did actually change a couple after Whiteacres when I pulled them out at Whiteacres, retied the connector and found it was a bit tight. But that's the other thing. I use winder bungs, so I can wind probably a metre of elastic round it. And when it wears at the connector, I retie it, unravel a bit, and it can last a lot longer. It's another reason not to use pullers. Saves money. Saves money on elastic.
Are you quite tight, Nath, with money?
Well, not as much as people think I am, but I don't see the point in wasting things if you don't have to.
No. I just wondered. I can remember them little winder bungs used to wrap loads on. Yeah.
Vespi I use, yeah. Big winder.
Preston used to do it.
Yeah. And I'll generally wrap, if it's heavy elastic, a metre, or at least half a metre, and then I can keep my elastic fresher for years, really. Especially when I don't use them that often. A lot of the time, nowadays, I'm only carp fishing, well, up until this last week when I've started going a bit, I've only been carp fishing at Whiteacres, so they only get used twice a year. And half the time, the pegs I draw don't catch a lot, so I don't get much use. But I'm spending more time tying rigs and more so hook lengths for other people. And half the time, I don't get time to do many myself, because I'm doing them for other customers.
Do you do that for part of your living now then?
No, it's just for a few extra quid, really. Slave labour.
Right. Who's the slave?
Me. A few hours in an evening, tie a few, and just for a few extra quid, really.
And how's it going for you? Are you busy with it? You got plenty on? Do you do plenty?
I've got loads on at the minute. For me, so I don't like to tie more. 20 or 30 a night, especially hair rigs, which are tied by hand. It hurts your fingers after 30. My fingers are hurting. I couldn't do any more. I know some people can do 200 a day. I don't know how they do it.
Daft question. Are you good at it? Do you tie a nice up
I think that the hair rigs are good, yeah. And I whip right down the shank, it's pretty much as far as you can, so the band don't waft about and kink up, which I see a lot for sale aren't like that. That takes more time, and I think it's worth the extra. And I get a lot of repeat customers, so must be pretty good at it.
Awesome. And you tie pole rigs as well?
Yes, not so many. But if someone wants quite a few pole rigs, I'll do them as well.
Nice.
So I've got a few to do at the minute.
What do people do if someone listening wanted to order some stuff from you or get some hooks tied? What would they do? Message you on Facebook?
Message on Facebook, yeah.
Nathan Watson Angling Rig Tying
.com.
Services.
Yeah.
Just message you,
Yeah.
and you can get them done.
Yeah, I am really busy at the minute. I think this is the time of year when it's warming up. Everybody's wanting the carp stuff, aren't they? F1s,
Nice.
shallow rigs, and I've got a big order hopefully on the way for rivers and island, such like. Hair rigs are popular at the minute, but they take probably twice as long as spades. So I'd rather do spades.
Do you use a hook tie or do you tie them by hand?
For the spades, I use the Gizmo.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, which I got whenever they came out a few years ago. And, I think it's a lot better than I used to use a Matchman hook tire. I've never been able to do spades very well with my fingers. Do you?
I can't do it with.
No.
I can do it by hand, nowhere near as good as I can. I use a black Matchman.
Yeah, that's what I used for years. But
Yeah.
I do think the Gizmo ties a better knot. Really, it seems stronger.
I don't know if we're right in saying this on podcast, but you know, like the amount of other people's rigs that I pick up and see some of the hook lengths, and you think that is horrendous.
Yeah.
Like I see it.
I remember you said that to me at Allcroft.
Did I really?
I remember you moving all my shop. I think I got a spread bulk and you moved them all together.
Did I?
Yeah.
on moat that day, weren't it? And a match
when you battered me.
match disqualifier or something,
Was
wasn't it? Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, but I was silly and fished for skimmers. I think you just fished for carp, didn't
Yeah.
you? But like so many people's hooks, I always think that's the most important part of your rig.
Yeah.
Line's got to be straight. It's got to come out at front of
Front
a
of a
spade,
spade, yeah.
and so many people's don't.
No.
But they still catch a load of fish.
Yeah.
But
So is it all in our heads?
probably,
Yeah.
probably is. You might hear a bit of music, folks. We are in the pub, and it's a nice Monday afternoon. So if you do hear it, it's just in the background. Next thing to ask you, we've talked so much about fishing, Nathan, so far. Have you ever had any other hobbies or sports, or do you do anything
Yeah.
aside?
For years, I've always kept fit, doing running and sit-ups, press-ups, weights and that at home. I don't go to a gym very much, but I've got weights at home that I do. Did some this morning before I come here.
Make your muscles look big for a show.
Not as big as yours.
What, have you got bigger muscles than Frankie, would you say?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I reckon so. I reckon
It's not
so.
hard though, is it?
No, is it heck?
is it?
Is it heck?
Yeah.
And do you take it seriously? Do it every day sort of thing?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you do it?
In a way, I think it makes you look better, healthier. Probably helps with fishing. Being fit and strong helps you fishing a long pole, slapping and. I mean, most places now are 16-metre limits, but back in the day, I'd fish 19, 20 metres regularly when I could. And I think if you're fit and strong, it helps you do that. Used to win a lot of matches fishing long pole.
Nice, like it. Got to make a difference. We spoke about that quite a lot, Tobe, haven't we? Like in other sports, physical fitness is massive.
Yeah.
Probably gets dropped quite a bit in fishing, doesn't
I
it?
think it is more important than
Well,
some people think.
Like you were saying earlier about holding the floating pole and how hard that was physically.
To keep lifting it,
Yeah, like if you're not in shape for that, you're not going to be able to do that for 5
now
hours,
it's
are
like
you?
slapping your rig over is a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
To do that all day, some people find it hard. I did graze my elbow a bit the other week, so I haven't done it for a while with a t-shirt on.
You have to get you an elbow strap.
Guru have just brought one out.
Do you want one sending? I'll send you one. Will you wear it if I
might
do?
Have a go.
I want it in your next picture. Nice Guru elbow strap
Yeah,
on.
tan line though, won't you?
You would, to be fair. Yeah. Oh, incredible. You do some kickboxing at some point as
Yeah,
well?
I did some kickboxing and boxing up until a few years ago. I used to do just the training after work. Did a few fights. But
Win some?
won a few, lost a few. Yeah.
What's your best kickboxing experience? What happened?
Okay. Well, kickboxing, I hadn't really done much competitively really for years. But,
Right.
that was mainly just the training, and there's boxing more when I was doing the fighting, and just enjoyed it really.
Keep fit,
Yeah,
keep
Yeah, I
active.
wasn't brilliant at it. But
He's an hard devil, you know.
Is he?
Yeah, he does. What do you do? Karate?
You change it every time
What
you
is
talk
it?
about it. Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
he's really good at it on quiet.
No, I've not done that.
Yeah.
It's-
All the grappling on
That's
the floor.
it, yeah,
and
the
stuff.
I think he
grappling
just
and,
likes wrestling with
the
other blokes now. I think that's all it is.
But kickboxing definitely requires a bit more flexibility. I don't think I'd be able to kick anyone in the head. No.
I don't know if I would nowadays, but
But kickboxing, seriously, like, you watch some of the videos what I do, kickboxing's like, grappling and all that can be savage, but you want to kick someone in the head, that's next level that.
yeah.
You ever had a bad injury from it, Nave?
No, not bad. I used to have black eyes most weeks and a few bruises, but nothing bad from that.
You talk about black eyes that like they're normal. Have you ever had a black eye?
I've had a couple. Frankie
Have you-
Frankie once gave me a black eye at Whitey because we were walking back from Newquay, walking down campsite as you do,
Right.
walk of shame about 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
And we were
yeah.
just, I don't know what we're making us doing it. We were pretend sparring,
As
like
you
just
do.
pretending. When
Be
you,
the alcohol that,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah.
Yeah.
when you're drunk,
Yeah.
you do it, don't you? And he's just whacked me. Like, just like literally clonk straight in. I had a black eye out rest
Did
of the
ya?
week at Whitey because
I used to have them most weeks when we were sparring at boxing.
Oh God. Have you ever had a proper fight, Nath, or have you ever had to like use your kickboxing in real life?
Very occasionally, not very often.
No?
No.
If he started on you, do you think you'd have him?
Oh, I don't know. He's got a skinhead, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Look hard skinhead.
Yeah. Southerner though, isn't he? So I think we'd be
Oh,
alright.
sorry,
Some
yeah.
show, yeah.
I forgot
Yeah.
he's a southerner easy then.
Do you do out work-wise now, Nave? Have you
Not
got
a lot.
how do you crack on? How do you get your money now then, other than from tying some ups and stuff? Or
I've up until last September, I was working quite regularly at a bakery on the docks at Grimsby. But then I packed that in when they made it 12-hour shifts or nothing. I thought that's too much for me. So I've been spending a lot of my time when my dad's not in hospital looking after my dad. So I'm just in the process of applying for like allowances for that, really.
Got
But
ya.
A few weeks, well, just before I went to Whiteacres, I started just delivering takeaways in Louth for a bit of money. So, and I've carried on with that after I come back as well.
just happy, bit in, batting, get some money.
And just tying, like I say, tying a few hooks here and there. Try and win the odd fishing match.
You win plenty of them, I know you do.
Not enough.
Am I right in thinking you got something wrong with your bowel or something, hadn't you?
Yeah.
What? That must be hard for fishing, because I know this morning you were like, oh, I can't come too early because I've got to make sure I'm alright. Does it affect your fishing, Nave?
Yeah, I'm late to pretty much every match.
But people probably don't know it's because you've got to sort
Yeah.
yourself out. What is it?
I don't think they've actually really diagnosed anything. It's just some sort of irritable bowel, and
Right.
I'll take anything between 2.5 hours on a good day to 5 hours on a bad day at the toilet in the morning.
Wow.
Use an irrigation device, take medication. To prepare for a fishing match, I need to take laxatives and eat me tea, my last meal of the day about 3 o'clock, to make sure I get up at like 3 or 4 in the morning. If I don't do that, I'll not get there. And make sure I'm all right for the day. 'Cause in the past, if I've just tried to rush off somewhere, or be at work or fishing, I'll end up needing to go to the toilet 7 or 8 times during the day. But now, with this, I'm better than I was. I just spend a few hours in the morning, then I'm all right for the rest of the day.
Wow.
But it's a bit unpredictable. Can't rely on being anywhere for a set time. Like I got to the match yesterday, 2 minutes before the match started
No, where were that?
at Messingham. No,
That's terrible.
yeah, sometimes it can work in my favour. I think I've often started matches late, set one rig up and won.
Yeah.
Thinking you're not messing about, you're just fishing one rig, and if you get lucky or sensible, you choose the right thing, don't swap about, and you win. But then other days it can cost you because you miss the best part of the match, or
Got ya.
you've not got backup rigs or rods to change to later in the day.
Does it ever get to you? Like,
Oh yeah.
it must get you down a bit sometimes.
That's why I lost my long time job at Angling Water, because I was often late to work and I'd be spending up to an hour away from my desk at the toilet, and I just got fed up of it really. That's not the official reason, but that's why I ultimately lost the job.
Got
So
ya.
now I can only work part-time,
Right.
afternoon shifts ideally.
I hope you get it sorted, mate, and you're
Well,
okay.
I've
Because
been trying for 20 years. It's got worse, or it got worse, but then this last year it has got slightly better with changing diet and medication. It's slightly better than it was. So
Good.
Thanks.
good. I hope you get it right, mate. And like I said, I didn't know much about it, and I think a lot of people won't do either.
Yeah, a lot of people that know me so I get moaned at for being late, and I say that, tell them why, and it does get depressing. But
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. Another one that I wanted to talk to you about, and I hope you don't mind me doing it. You're quite an outspoken person. You don't sort of
you
hold
are.
back.
That's an outrageous
You
accusation.
are. Definitely. What's like? Do you ever worry about offending anyone, or
No.
you're not bothered?
No,
Do you ever feel like you say something out of term?
not really. Maybe afterwards we might think that, but normally just say what I think, the truth. It doesn't bother me.
How much of what you do in that way, or when you say something like that, how much of it's to have a laugh, or how much of it's like serious and you want to make a point about
It's
it?
a bit of both. Obviously, with people you know, a lot of the time you say it as a laugh, but there are times, like if I've seen people doing something I think's wrong at fishing, I'll say it serious. Like if I think they're fishing the wrong way on the river, fishing upstream, or casting in your peg or something, or using something that's banned, I'll shout up like.
Yeah. Tell them how
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
What's when it comes down to things like that, you know, breaking rules and what have you ever caught anyone cheating, or have you Ever witnessed anything like
I
that?
have witnessed odd bits and bobs, but I can't think of anything too serious. I think I remember seeing someone at Hayfield handlining, which wasn't allowed at the time. You know, that's before pullers, and sometimes you'd grab the elastic above your tip and to pull the fish in like that, and that was banned. And I shouted up at the time, tried to get him disqualified, but I don't think he did.
Right. What did you say? Excuse me, sir.
Something like that.
This gentleman is breaking the rules.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever took offence to your abruptness on sort of social media and that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, loads of people.
Who?
I can't remember. Loads of people. Generally, I've had a few people send a message threatening me, going to come and beat me up. Or,
Honestly?
Oh yeah.
What, just from a post you've put out?
Yeah, yeah.
What would you say is the worst thing that you've ever came out with on social media or ever picked out about someone? What?
I don't know. Can't think of anything really.
We should have gone through your Facebook page,
Yeah.
really, shouldn't we, first, and had a little
Yeah.
look?
Well, there's been that recent one with John Arthur, hasn't there? Where I've made a couple of joking posts about it.
But that's a bit of fun, I'm assuming.
I've just said jokingly about scooping a fish by mistake and put it in his keep net, which is very naughty. But a lot of people have abused him and threatened him apparently, which I would never do. And I don't agree with. But
No, shouldn't be doing that
obviously
to him.
he's done something wrong, and he's sorry for it, I suppose. And I've not watched his video. It looked a bit too mardy and miserable for me, but but I'm sure he's sorry for it. But
I think he's made a mistake and he knows he hasn't.
yeah, but obviously he's done wrong, and it's for me very difficult to forgive and forget things like that. But
It'd be good to get John on a show, wouldn't it, and have a chat about it.
Absolutely, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be. He's been mentioned a lot on the podcast, and he's won some massive things.
Yeah,
So it'd be good to get him on and have a
He's
natter
won
with.
UK champs more than anybody, I think.
Yeah. Festivals, Diowa Pole Fishing Masters at Tunnel Barn, loads of stuff, countless things. Be good to get him on and have a natter. Talking about cheating, have you ever been caught cheating? Or have you ever cheated in a match? Go on, tell us.
Not deliberately.
Right.
There was a time at Whiteacres where the rules at the time, I think it was just on a feeder and a bomb, you had to have a 12-inch hook length, 12-inch hanging below the bomb or the feeder. And then when he did the draw in the morning, which they don't do now, he did a little speech before the draw, and he mentioned a new rule, which I wasn't there to hear because I was a bit late, as normal.
On the toilet, probably.
Yes, I'd have still been at the toilet or having my breakfast. And the new rule was a 12-inch minimum depth on the pole or the waggler, which I didn't know about. And I was fishing on Trelawney on a pellet waggler, mainly catching about 18 inches deep. And then after the match, I was talking to people about how I'd fished, because I think the fish was getting ready for spawning, and there's a lot sort of splashing about on the far side. So I even tried fishing 6 inches deep, but it didn't work. I said, "Oh, have you done that?" "Oh, I've just put a 6-inch hook length on." I said, "Oh, that's banned." What? And I didn't know anything about it, so I got disqualified that day. When I framed on the lake. I can't remember, second or third on the lake, but I didn't actually know I was getting disqualified, so I saw the results and I was down as 0. I thought, oh dear.
Wow.
But, yeah, that's the only time.
Did you catch any actual fish back doing it?
No.
You didn't even catch anything doing it?
I just talked about it after the match.
Right.
Not realising it was illegal.
Yeah. That's a mistake, innit? You've not heard the rule and then... Yeah. What do you think about rules in match fishing, Nave? Do you think that lots of rules are good, or do you think it's good to give people free range?
Some rules are all right, I suppose, but I think there's too many. I'd rather not have any, really. And bait limits as well, which it's difficult at Whiteacres, for example. It's an 8-pint limit, and no one with any sense would ever want to feed anywhere near 8 pints anywhere, but it's just the hassle of deciding what to take. So if something's not working, you might not have the option to swap to something else. Like if you take 5 pints of maggots and you want to swap to pellets or meat or something, you don't have enough of different things. So I'd rather not have any limits, but I suppose you get the odd idiot who's going to abuse things, and that's why they've got the limits, I suppose. But some limits. I mean, some rules for fish welfare obviously are good. But, I'm not sure about places that ban tapping and slapping. I think it's just to sell more pellets, isn't it?
I think you're right.
I don't know too much about these overshotted rigs that you use. It's not something I've done much of. 'Cause it's banned where I fish, but I think when they're allowed, they're unbeatable, aren't they?
Seems that way.
Like the floating pole used to be. 'Cause it's just, don't miss bites, do you?
I wonder if you could go back and fish matches
Floating
with a
pole.
floating pole.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd work.
It's not been done for years,
Probably
has
not
it?
so much with clear water. I think you need really coloured water and a bit of ripple. If it was clear and calm, I don't think it'd work.
Interesting. Very interesting. What does your fishing, what sort of path's it going to take now, Nave? Because you've sort of, obviously you started off natural venue style, then you got sucked into the big money matches.
Yeah.
And now, where are you with it now? Do you still go on a lot of qualifiers, or do you enjoy fishing naturals? What do you enjoy doing in your fishing nowadays?
Yeah, so for a few years, I was obsessed with carp, and I totally stopped fishing natural venues and fished like pretty much every Fish O Mania qualifier, Mava qualifiers when they started, and a few golden reels, but
You got through to any of them finals?
no, I was second in a Mava qualifier. That's closest I've been. And I think the last Fish O final I fished was 2018, and then soon after that, lockdowns, and since then, I've not fished a qualifier on a commercial anyway. I was sort of getting fed up anyway of all the travelling, spending all the money, half the time drawing the wrong lake, wrong peg, just having a bad day's fishing. And now I'm more into natural venues again. I enjoyed it more fishing like on the Trent in the summer, with Rancombe in the winter, and for the last few years I've probably not really fished a commercial apart from Whiteacres, which is probably why I don't do as well there as I used to do. But I've just started to get back into it a bit now. I've fished a few matches locally at Messingham the last couple of weeks since I got back.
Nice. You maybe going to have a little pop on commercials again?
Yeah, I'll try and do a mixture. It's difficult trying to do a mixture, swapping your gear about all the time. But I like both, but I probably enjoy naturals more, I'd say, at the moment.
What do you fish for more? Would you say you fish more for the enjoyment of the venue you go into now, or to like win money and get into big money events? What sort of path?
No, I obviously the main thing is enjoying the fishing, but also I wouldn't enjoy just pleasure fishing. I enjoy competing against other anglers, but it's not. I'm not obsessed with trying to get in a big money final and win a lot of money like I used to be. So I think you just have that much misery trying to do it. It's driving miles, drawing a crap peg and not enjoying the fishing. So I might get back into it. I don't know. I've entered a couple of Riverfest qualifiers for this year on the Trent.
I always feel like them sort of Riverfest feeder masters, they're a little bit different because you qualify in zones 20 anglers. So you're fishing against 20 people and there's
Rather
a little
than
bit...
100 odd,
Yeah, your chances are
I think
definitely...
there's more of a chance, yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously there's more in the final, so not as much chance of winning the final. That Fish O was always great, I thought, with only 16 in the final. I thought, you've got a great chance, but now there's 24. It's more down to the draw, I think, especially on, well, any venue really. It's often wind-dominated, corner pegs, isn't it? So end peg next to a blocker, like, see what the blocker does, try and do something a bit different to them, like.
Got ya. Have you ever been interested in team fishing sort of later in your life? I know you did a little bit with Harlequins to start.
Yeah. I enjoyed fishing the Winter League on the Ancombe for a couple of years, or 2 or 3 years. We fished with a Tide Chasers team, which was Alan Henry run it.
Yeah.
People from all over, and we did quite well. I think the first couple of years we come second behind Scunthorpe, which was all the venue local experts, and then I think the last couple of years we won.
Oh, very good.
So yeah, I enjoyed it, but then that sort of packed in really. The whole Winter League's gone now because the Ancombe has declined really. The fish shoal up in a few places where it'd be really good, but then there'll be loads of pegs where you struggle for a bite. So there's a match now will be sort of 6 to 10 pegs, where years ago there'd be 30 pegs a few years ago. Previous to that, 60, 70 pegs or more. So,
It's a shame that, isn't it?
It is a shame, yeah, 'cause it's a nice local venue to me that I've always enjoyed.
Quite an iconic place, the Ancombe, been talked about for years and years
Yeah.
in match fishing.
Well, I do enjoy team fishing, but we'll probably have a team in the national. Well, we will have a team. I didn't fish it last year on the Gloucester Canal because I was in hospital having an operation at the time.
What you ever done?
It was some operation to try and help with my bowel function.
Right.
It's not really worked.
Were you alright after it? Do you have to have some serious time off sort of
I had
thing?
to have quite a while off, yeah. It was quite sore after.
Wow.
So that stopped me fishing the national.
Right.
Probably a good thing, so I don't think it was great for most, was it?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. How do you find hospitals and stuff like that?
Not nice places.
No,
are they,
you're not going to
really?
go on an enjoyable trip there, but
No,
does it scare you going in there, or?
a little bit perhaps. But
I've never had an operation or anything. Me, ever had an operation? No, never.
I've only I've had grommets and like tonsils out and stuff like that. Nothing major.
No.
the longest
But,
I've
like-
been in for was for a month when I got run over by a Bentley.
You got run over?
But yeah.
But
What
say
happened
about
was
Bentley, that's
I
big
was
cars.
training for a boxing fight and I was running and this Bentley come speeding out of a side street, sent me flying up in the air and I broke ribs, punctured lung,
No.
femur.
Where was this
collarbone-
in the pre-podcast?
collarbone.
What
I thought
happened?
everybody knew about that.
I can't remember it.
This was in Lincoln, I don't know, maybe 8, 9 years ago, probably more.
That's serious,
Yeah.
Nate.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, soon after, I think I was supposed to have a Fish O ticket at Lindome, and obviously I couldn't go. I was in hospital for a month and then couldn't walk, sort of wheelchair crutches for another 3 months. Probably
Wow,
lucky
yeah.
to get away with that, really. But yeah, this Fish O at Lindome, I heard, he said that I think people know about Nathan getting run over by a Bentley who would have been fishing here, so I'm going to do a collection for the driver, he said.
Why are people like that with you?
Well, hopefully mainly banter like I am with them.
Yeah.
Maybe some of it's evil and don't like me, but
Does that bother you one bit?
no, not really.
No. Not bothered.
I think most of it's friendly banter, I hope.
Good. Good. Are you recovered from that now?
Pretty much, yeah. Still, this shoulder's a bit... I broke this shoulder or collarbone twice, actually. It does start to ache a bit sometimes fishing when you're casting regularly or fishing a long pole. But can get by.
Flipping heck. Hit by a Bentley.
Got to be a best car.
Yeah. Damn right. What, did the driver stop and everything? Or?
No, didn't stop.
What, hit and run?
Yeah.
And he'd have clearly known that he'd hit you.
Oh, yeah.
You have your earpods in or something? Music in?
No. The road was clear, but I heard it coming. It was really, it was proper skidding, speeding out of a side street on an accelerating right. I saw it coming towards me. I saw it coming, looked, and fucking. I went flying a lot. I think it said about 25 metres up the road. I went flying and.
Can you remember it all?
I remember it hitting me. Yeah, and I think I was unconscious very briefly.
Jesus Christ.
Bad,
Nate.
that.
Yeah, that is terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. It's the only thing I'm scared of. That's why I asked you the question. I've said it before.
Yeah.
Going to an hospital, proper makes me feel. Even just talking to you about being in for a month and that. I don't know why. It's like the only fear I've got is like going into
So nowadays
hospitals.
I'm always visiting my dad there. I think this last time he's been in, he's got MRSA, which I think is a common thing nowadays. Whenever you go in hospital for a while, you get MRSA.
Yeah.
Like a free gift.
Shocking.
But, no, it's not a nice place to go, you see.
No, it's not. It's not at all. Have you ever been interested in sponsorship or getting a sponsor or anything like that in your fishing,
I was
Nathan?
briefly sponsored by Midi for a while. Rob Wotton, when he was with Midi, I think it was just before that Fish O Mania that I come second in, he asked me and gave me a few bits and bobs for that. It was nothing major, just a few bits and bobs, and it was okay. It's not something I ever strive to have a big sponsor. It's nice in a way, but in other ways it can impede you if you've got to use things that you don't think are the best. But, obviously you've got to do things to promote it when you like go to shows and things. Teach little kids like
Yeah.
like you do.
Daily basis for me, all that stuff,
I know
innit?
you like that sort of thing, but
Yeah.
no, it's never bothered me that much. To be honest, rather just do my own thing. Use what I think. Use my antique gear.
What's the most antique piece of kit that you use week in, week out now, would you say? Still now?
Well, my Normark rods are pretty old. Normark. Well, I've actually got some original Avengers which I don't use very much.
Wow.
I've got the several Titan 2000s, Avenger 2000s that I use regularly.
Nice.
And they must be 30 years old, I'd say.
Still do as good a job as anything as well.
I think they're better than modern rods. I've had top of range Dyra rods and sold them because I thought the Normarks are better.
Honestly?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've got my old Tournament S pole. That must be 25 years old probably. Still use that now and again on a river if I'm just fishing close.
That's the one that's in these
That-
pictures
yeah.
here, isn't it?
I used to use that at 19 metres and you can see in the picture at 16 metres it's bending like mad, but now I'll use it if I'm just fishing like 11, 12 metres. It's so slim and light and it's
Is
just...
it not worn out or anything?
It is a bit, yeah. I've got two. One's pretty good. The one I use is probably as much tape as carbon, but it does the job. Especially, you know, if you've got bloody people walking, cycling behind you, I'd rather them break that than me best pole.
Yeah. Love it. Absolutely love it. What's your thoughts on modern day match fishing, Nave? I know you've got like this old fashioned angle on a lot of the stuff you do, and you've grown up seeing a lot of big matches, the original Fish O Manias, and then you've seen it all develop into this massive big money qualifiers, people splitting up onto commercial venues. You're talking about peg matches, 4, 5, 6 people fishing now that used to be 70 and 80.
Yeah.
How do you feel about all that? What's your opinion on it?
I don't really like it as much as it used to be. I mean, I like decent size. I do like small matches if they're local and it's a reasonable payout and it's worth going. I don't really like it. These places where they pay 50 quid every 5 peg sections, and I'd rather if you're lucky enough or good enough to win the match, you get something worthwhile. So you spend a lot of money on fuel and bait, and if you win, you want a decent profit. In my opinion, just to cover your costs isn't really worth bothering. I'd rather have a chance of winning a decent amount or getting nothing. Personally, that's probably more people enjoy just getting the money back. It depends how you look at it. But I'd love to go back to the old days of the big matches and big payouts where obviously there's the big money qualifiers, but there isn't really many matches where you can just win one match and win £1,000 or something, is there?
No, hardly any.
Or even £500, whereas there used to be loads of matches. And like Billy Knott, he used to be at the matches, and big matches, you could win money off him as well. Not that I ever did, apart from the Fish O Mania is the only time I took some money off him, but it was always nice to have a bet, and that chance in a national you'd win £7,000 or something if you'd got a bet on yourself. But nowadays you don't get a lot at all, do you?
No. You used to win more. It's crazy that you used to win more in a national 30 years ago than you do now.
Yeah.
And considering the cost of everything, price of everything's gone up.
And it's the same with that. The Winter League final, which I know you with Barnsley have won several times, but you're not making a good profit out of it, are you?
I seen you put a post up about it, didn't you?
Yeah, probably, yeah. I mean, you spend loads of money practising and such like, and you're beating all the best teams in the country. I think you should get several £1,000s and make it really worthwhile. But that's just me.
If you were to have a 60 peg match, say, nowadays,
Yeah.
how much pulls would you charge and what would be a payout?
Probably 25 quid pulls, and 50% of what I took I'd pay to the winner. And then just spread it out equally, maybe top 4 or 5. And for a section, I'd say 25, 30 quid for every maybe 10 peg sections. But
Just as a token,
just
get
as
your
a
money
token
back.
gesture, yeah. But
Got ya. Have you ever had many big influences on your fishing, Nathan? Like over the years, in younger days, or even into the older ones now? Is there anyone who you like really look up to as a great
I say
angler?
when I was younger, I went fishing with Tony Wood a few times. I went watching him a few times, and he was a good angler. I learnt a lot from him, and I remember going to various matches, sat in the back of his Mercedes Sprinter van, and there's about 4 or 5 of us sat on our fishing boxes in the back of the van. Couldn't imagine that nowadays.
Couldn't get away with it, could you? What, drive into a match, sat on your box in back at van?
Yeah, some of your mates, Mick Viles, Wayne Bartholomew, Tony Howard. I remember all of us sat in the back of his van drinking his little bottles of Belgian lager. I think that was when we went to River Weaver practicing for Winter League semi-final they used to have.
Right.
They don't have a semi-final now, do they?
No,
straight to the final.
What's your take on team fishing nowadays?
Like I say, I enjoy it. I don't really do it much now, but I just think the payouts aren't enough to interest people. There's, obviously, there's 2 or 3 top teams, and a lot of the others probably think they can't compete with them in the big competitions. But I do enjoy it. I wish there was a local winter league to fish again, because it just gives you something to fish for on a bad peg, whereas in an open you'd probably pack up early and go home, whereas in a team match you'd try and catch a few bits.
How could, say, the Angling Trust or someone who's running team matches, someone like yourself who goes fishing all the time, likes competing in matches, how could they get you to put your own team together and want to compete in a big team event? What would make you want to do that, do you think?
I know I think there's only 2 divisions in the national now, isn't there?
Yeah.
There used to be like 5 or 6. But possibly, if there was more interest, possibly more divisions and more money, I think. It's hard to say. Different venues, more of a choice of venues, I think. It's hard, isn't it? I don't know.
It's tough.
Lots of the venues aren't suitable, but...
I think the money thing's the one. When you went then, the more money.
Yeah. I know there's regions for the Winter League. Maybe something like the Winter League in the summer, where you have different regions to qualify for a final. Like there used to be the Drennan Super Cup, wasn't there, years ago? Something like that, I think, would be good. Fit on all the various rivers and qualify for another final like that.
Definitely.
I don't know.
I think money's the one, mate.
It is, yeah. I just think for the amount you have to spend to be successful at team fishing, there isn't enough rewards at the end of it.
Imagine if there were a team final where the winning team got 50 grand.
Yeah.
Like a 5-man team.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
More.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All your Andy Bennett's and Christian Joneses and that circle of people might put a team together. Right, we're going to go and
Become
win.
a proper team sport then, wouldn't it?
Yes,
yeah, it
exactly.
would.
Yeah.
Real team sport.
I mean, I think I've fished the commercial national once, but I mean, that's at the same venue every year, isn't it? I think it should move every year, but I don't know. There's probably ain't enough commercials big enough.
I think as well, Neil or Aaron at Lindholme, they put money into the payout.
Right.
So that's a good reason to keep.
Yeah.
Obviously, Aaron's not going to put $2,000 in if they have it at Allcroft or whatever.
Yeah.
So selfishly from their point of view, I can see it.
Yeah, it is a good venue for it, but
yeah.
I just think it'd be nice for a bit of variety and give
Totally
people
agree.
in different areas of the country a chance to fish their local venue. But
Totally agree. Used to be on different places.
same with the Winter League final. That's been at March and Decoy for years, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It would have been nice for that. I did hear that talks of that moving to the Steynie and Lindholme, which would be nice for make Barnsley win even easier.
We don't fish any of them though. So we probably fish. This is the crazy thing. Everyone goes, oh, if you move it up to Steynie and Lindholme, it's perfect for Barnsley. At the minute, we fish Decoy and the drains more than Lindholme and here because that's where the final is, sort of thing, you know. Yeah.
You've got some knowledge on the Steynie though, haven't you?
Yeah, fished it for a few years. But
30 years.
yeah. Who do you believe the best modern day match anglers are? You've seen so many grow up, develop, win different things, fished with them, fished against them.
There's loads, isn't there? Obviously, best at all this F1 fishing and carp fishing. And Andy Bennett, who you mentioned earlier, is very hard to beat, isn't he? And Jamie Hughes as well. Andy Power, there's loads. I think they're the big 3, aren't they?
Yeah.
But the people who I've fished with a lot regularly over the years, not so much nowadays, but 2 who you know, Jamie Wild and Dean Smith, I think they seem to do well on any venues. Dean He'd go on rivers, canals, lakes. He'd always get a good result.
Yeah.
And Jamie, I've never seen anyone cast a feeder as well as Jamie. Method to an island. And he'll just win matches by a massive margin. He's just so good. But neither of them. I don't know so much about Jamie nowadays. I've not seen him for a while, but I don't think either of them take it that seriously and enter a lot of big matches. Dean either can't afford to or don't like to spend a lot of money like I'm getting that way now. To fish a qualifier, you can spend 200 quid driving miles, your pulls, bait and everything. Is it worth it?
That's the question.
Obviously it is if you qualify and win, it is, but how much have you spent and wasted time trying to do it?
True. Dean is such a natural angler.
Yeah.
So good. Fish with him on Trent for years.
He's brilliant on the Trent. He used to be on the Ancombe as well. He draws some flyers, like. But,
don't we all?
Well, it makes them, like, I remember fishing the Hughes Champs. We went there a couple of times. I think the first year I don't think he did any good. And the second year he won the match. And that venue he'd only fished twice. Like,
he's a match winner, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Wins matches, like Jamie, like you said.
Yeah. But Jamie doesn't just win a match by £20. He'll win a match by, he'll be like £200 in front of the bloke who's second. So, sometimes, but yeah, brilliant.
Both great characters and all, aren't they, them two?
Yeah.
Proper people.
And
yeah, they are.
On the rivers, and obviously, fish with John Small a lot on the Trent. He's one of the best on the float. Makes his own floats.
Yeah.
Wins loads of matches with him when it's the right tide.
He is awesome, Smalley. He is awesome. I saw him on boat on way back from Ireland the other day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sat there with him. Brilliant angler. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, someone sent me a message saying your mate Small had a big weight in the classic, and but it was John Smalley, not John Small. So
you were next to me.
Smalley.
Yeah.
Not Small, Smalley.
John Smalley, yeah.
Is that who used to be at Decoy?
He's like a Nuneaton lad. He's from Nuneaton.
Is he little?
Yeah, he's not big.
Like the other,
no, that's a different bloke.
It's not the one who used to go out with Diane at Decoy Lakes.
No,
right.
different one again.
Right.
So we've got John Small and two John Smalleys.
Yeah.
Gets confusing,
And they're all
doesn't
small.
it? Yeah, they're all quite small. They are. Is there anything you'd like to do in your fishing going forward, Nate? Like, you got
That
years
what you just mentioned, Ireland might have a go there in the future. I've been pleasuring years ago, but I've never fished a festival there.
Fancy it Classic next year?
I wouldn't mind a go. It just seems a bit daunting when you don't know the place, and obviously with me trying to get places on time in the morning, it's a bit worrying, finding places. But yeah, I do fancy going in the future.
What do you do on a festival with that, Nate? If you come to Ireland, for example, draws at 8:30.
Yeah, that's it. At White Acres nowadays, I'm a bit slightly better there, 'cause you're into a rhythm of getting up at 4 every morning. I had no choice last week, so I had hens, cockerels next to me, and they started about 4 in the morning every day. So I couldn't sleep in if I wanted to. But they just the draws just put online at White Acres, so you just go to your peg when you want, pretty much. So I generally go hour and a half before the match, if I'm lucky. Sometimes I might have got there half an hour before, but yeah, struggling to get to an actual draw if you've got to be at the draw. That's a worry and puts me off entering matches, because I just can't. Sometimes I make it, but more often than not, something will go wrong and I'll be late. I'll often get a mate, John Small, often on the Trent. He'll pay and draw a peg for me, and I'll just get there when I'm ready, or as soon as I can.
Go straight to your peg?
Yeah.
Got you. So you have to set your alarm for like 4 a.m. and stuff like that?
No, normally for a morning match on something like the Trent, which takes just under an hour to get, I'll be setting my alarm sort of 2:45.
2:45?
Yeah.
What time do you go to bed?
Eh? Well, try and get to bed before 11 or 12 normally, but can't normally get that early. So occasionally, but if I try, I'm just up needing the toilet all night.
Wow.
Preparing my gear. Previously, I was working at the bakery till 10 o'clock. Now I'll be working doing these takeaways till 9 o'clock. So can't go that early.
You'd love Ireland though, Nath. You should really try and come there.
I see you had some nice big hybrids and
yeah,
it looked nice fishing.
If you like, obviously I know you like the river, Trent and all that. Everything you catch is a proper chunky fish, and I'd love to see you come there.
Did you win much money?
We won about $2,000 between us. Bear in mind, none of us framed in the official frame. We were
Yeah.
between 8th and like
I've heard
25th.
it's good payouts then, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. And there's a bookie there.
Yeah.
You can have a bet on yourself. There's super pools. You could spend a lot of money, but you could also win a lot. Definitely.
And what did you do for bait? Did you buy it there or take it with you?
You'll love it because you can draw your peg and
Right.
then get your bait.
Ah,
so if you
right.
draw a bad peg, you can just use your old bait from the day before.
Yeah,
If you're
yeah.
on a good one, you can go, I'll get another couple of... There's like 2 different bait wagons that you get
Right.
your bait from.
Yeah, I'll definitely think of having a go in the future.
Come, stop
Yeah.
with us. Be great. Get in
Yeah.
between me and Frankie in double bed. Be sound.
No, I'm not going.
Have you got a missus around now for you? Are you
No.
married or anything like that?
No,
Why not?
too ugly.
Give off a right handsome fella, isn't he?
No, I've never.
Not bothered?
No,
Wow. Bit like me, I suppose. Just too ugly. Is there anything else you'd like to do in your fishing?
it'd be nice one day to win another big money event. I say you've got to enter qualifiers first, but I've got 2 Riverfest qualifiers. I'd love to qualify for the final of that. I've only done 2 or 3 qualifiers in the past and never come close yet. But that'd be one thing I'd like to win, Riverfest. And yeah, maybe one. Obviously, the Part Dean again. I'm going to White Acres in October. I'd love to qualify and have another go at the Part Dean final. Just continue enjoying fishing and winning a bit now and again, really.
Fantastic. I'm sure you will do. I've got some quick fire questions for you. I've not teed you up with these before,
Right.
so you might go mad at me, but I ask these to all the different guests that come on. First one I'm looking forward to from you. If there's an item in your seat box you couldn't live without, what would it be?
There's a couple. Well, there's lots of things that you
No,
can't
you're only
fish
allowed
with.
one.
Oh,
Sorry.
one, sorry.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Toby gets very precious
Okay.
about this.
Style
Guess-
pincers.
Do you still use styles?
No, but I use them for stots and shot. The other main thing I use them for is if I need to change hook lengths, which is only when it's gone really blunt or snapped. And I cut the loop and then pull the tags off with my style pincers. I just find that quicker and easier than you probably do it with your teeth, but my teeth don't really line up properly from getting punched in the face too many times. So I can't do it with me. I just use style pincers for that. I'd be lost without them.
Right, style pincers it is then. If you could only fish one venue for the rest of your life, where is it?
I'd say the Trent, even though it's pretty much a summer venue now. I think I love fishing the Trent. It's so wild and unpredictable, varied, and you could fish it in the winter, I think, and still enjoy it if you get in the right place at the right time. Probably not a match venue, but then there's venues I enjoy in the winter that would be rubbish in the summer. So one venue, I'd say the Trent.
Tidal.
Tidal, yeah. And
Awesome.
I love the Trent anyway, but the Tidal is where I fish the most, probably it's the closest. And yeah, I do love the Tidal.
Tidal Trent.
Yeah.
Who is the best angler that you have ever fished with?
Again, I'd say, well, I've fished with loads, but who I fished with regularly, who I mentioned earlier, Dean Smith. He's, yeah, rather than saying someone obvious who's well known, he's the best, probably not so well known angler, I would say.
Great angler.
As good, if not better, than lots of the well known anglers, I'd say.
Lovely bloke, fantastic angler. I hope
I
he's
wouldn't go
listening.
that far.
He'll listen to this, won't he?
He's all right.
Will he listen to your podcast?
I doubt it.
I think he will.
Maybe.
I'll send it in.
That's who sat with me on most of my Fish O Mania finals. He didn't on the one that I won, but I think everyone since he has.
Has he?
Yeah.
Fair play. Fair play. If there's one thing you could change about fishing, what would it be?
Payouts.
Yeah?
Reward the winner.
That's a great answer, isn't it?
That is a good answer, that.
That's going in the trailer, that bit. Reward the winner. 50% of the payout
Yeah.
to the winner. Like it. Powerful. And if you had to give someone who's never been fishing before some advice or inspiration to go and give it a go, what would you say to them? How would you convince them?
Stupid bloody question.
Why? What's wrong with this
I
question?
don't care. Well,
Come on, Nate.
It's better than sat on PlayStations and things like that, I think. Anyway, get out in the fresh air and fish against nature and fish.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, it
isn't
is.
it? Get off your PlayStations.
Yeah,
Go fishing.
I enjoy it.
Are we going to see like a Nathan Watson kids camp, like you getting young anglers into the sport and all that now?
I doubt it. That's another thing I was going to mention. Back when I was learning to fish, everyone would want to help everyone for free. Nowadays, it's all about paying for coaching, isn't it? That's a big change in fishing, I suppose. But
That never used to be a thing.
no,
Paying
you
coaching.
just when you was a kid, especially when you're a youngster, the adults who see you struggling would come and help you. Say, come and watch me, or do this a bit different, change your rig, change your feeding. But now it doesn't seem to happen. Maybe it does, but more and more you've got to pay someone for coaching, haven't you?
It's become like a way of making
Yeah,
money
I
almost.
mean, I won't say no if someone wanting to offer me a few £100 for coaching, but it's. I mean, I always help anyone as much as I can. Happy to help people. Not that I know that much, but if there's someone not as good as me, I'm happy to help them. Always after matches, I enjoy telling people if I've won. I get excited if I've won. I want to tell them exactly what I've caught, even when it's illegal, like at Whiteacres.
Yeah, I've had a few 6 inches deep.
Yeah,
You always used to shout when you netted a big fish at...
wahoo!
Yeah. What's that all about?
I can't remember where it started. I think it might have been Dean that started it. If you hooked a big tench or bream on a canal or something, you'd shout wahoo. I don't know. Maybe it was me before then at Whiteacres. No, it was me before then at Whiteacres and Hayfield. I think if you got a bigger fish than normal, and then just carried on with it.
I can remember, right, we used to fish this winter league at Hayfield, and I'd never
yeah.
drawn next to Nathan ever before.
Was that the one on Island Lake
Yeah.
when you were all fishing bloodworm?
And you fished
And I battered you a load of carp on me.
on salami. You fished with pepperami.
Peroni.
Peroni. That's a lager.
No, what's it called?
Pepperoni.
Yeah, pepperoni.
No, polony.
Polony.
Polony, yeah, little garlic sausage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freezing cold. And like, he would nattering, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden he's gone dead quiet. And I turn around and he's like that.
Yeah.
Playing one, and he never said a word. Right, no one's caught a carp on the whole lake, and you've got to do it. You got to like, go on.
Yeah.
What happened when you netted it?
Wahoo! I think you had about 2 ounce on bloodworm.
I had a
didn't you? And I had
perch.
about £50 a carp.
You won the match. You won the match.
It was at Pursley, wasn't it, when everyone
Yeah.
was bloodworm fishing?
Yeah. Do you do it just for a laugh?
Yeah.
It was great. You knew because you knew when he'd caught one, and isn't there a story once where,
I like that. It's like a bit of mental game, that,
Yeah.
isn't it? Because you'd hear him every time.
especially in winter, you're like, no, Nathan's got another one.
Yeah.
And you could hear him all around complex.
Yeah.
Amazing. Final question: did you bring us a gift?
No. Apart from these photos, you only told me a couple of days ago, and I was trying to find something. But from everything I can think of, from all the big matches I've won, it's all been given away.
Have you getting it all the way, have you?
Dean Smith's had most of my waterproofs. The Fish O waterproofs with Nathan Watson on the back.
Right.
When it does a bit of roofing at times. Apparently when he's wearing that, when it's raining, and see Nathan Watson and start throwing stones at him. But yeah,
He'll have to get next round in.
I think
that's
when
true.
from the Park Dean final, Tony Hopper, he had me little bib that I was wearing, all my hats, I can't think of it. I'll try and find something and send it to you.
All right. Well, what about these photos? Can I get you to sign one of these,
Yeah,
and we can have it in the podcast room? Is that an option?
only if you sign a hat for a mate of mine who's been messaging you for advice.
I can do
He
that.
wants a signed hat 'cause he's a big fan of yours.
Is that the one who we're at Southfield with
Yeah.
us? Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you.
Here we go. Stay there. I'm
got
gonna get
one.
you to do it on the show.
Do it.
Hang on. Excuse me. Hey, up, they've even turned music off.
You got a pen?
Is that one I look nice on?
Yeah, this has got. Can we have that one?
Yeah? Is that the broken landing there?
Yeah, it's a good one. That as well. I was gonna say I might have a pen if you need one.
That was a Keynex Beast handle, that was.
I've got one here. You got one? Yeah, I've got one. Right.
I got a signed hat off Steve Ringer for a lad years ago.
Did ya?
Yeah, and I think yours will be worth more now than his.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Right.
It's gonna
He
start
only
two.
fishes feeder matches now, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's feeder
He's
flinger,
still
innit?
brilliant though, isn't he?
It's alright.
When you want it signed at the front?
We want Dear the podcast.
Dear the podcast.
The podcast. Then I want a note from you, like either really offensive or a best. You could put best wishes, or you could put something rude.
I'll have to pixel it out.
Yeah.
No. Oh, your pen's ran out.
You're joking.
Ah,
Get a scribble on back. Be fine. There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
there you go.
Must be greasy photo. Oh, for God's sake.
What were you going to write?
Thanks.
Thanks for the
Drink.
thanks for the drink. There we go.
There you go.
Perfect.
And we'll get
There we
that in a
go.
little frame. There you go. Look at that toe. Can you see him?
There you go. Perfect.
That's a
Worst
lovely
day of
little
my
gift.
life.
What, coming on the podcast?
No, coming second in that
Right
match.
there.
We've got a picture of the worst day of Nathan's
There you go.
life.
What a gift.
I couldn't find any photos from the best day, but I've still got the video on VHS.
Have you?
Yeah.
Fair play. One more thing I've got to ask you about. This has reminded me of it. Corrections in grammar. What's that all about?
It's something I started doing a few years ago when I see the odd really bad grammar on Facebook, mainly apostrophes in the wrong place or not where they should be or where they shouldn't be. And it become a bit of a funny thing, really. So nowadays I just do it as often as I see it.
Corrects people on Facebook. You know, in the fishing blog,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
generally,
yeah.
us fishermen aren't very good at writing.
No.
So if they spell things wrong, he
just
goes
feel-
through it and spell
I
checks
just feel
them.
if I don't do it, someone will normally tag me and say, Nathan Watson, can you sort this out,
Can you
please?"
fix
So
this?
It's become a bit of a joke.
I think that in the post, when we promote the show,
Just grammar. Horrific.
spell it all wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
and
Out
then
the
you
window.
can come on and do it.
No,
Yeah.
no full stops. Just
Yeah.
one big paragraph.
Have you enjoyed podcast? You enjoyed coming on?
Yes, thank you.
Would you come on
Good.
again when you've won Riverfest this year
Yeah.
and have another natter?
If I draw like Kyle Wainwright, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it. Thank you for coming on, mate.
Thank you,
Thank
mate.
Really appreciate it. Enjoyed that.
Cheers.